Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome back to my series of QuakeCon Duel Grand Final retrospectives. We're here today with 2011. Rapha is back, and this time his challenger is Strenx. In 2009, we saw Rapha face off against Sparty in what ended up being a fairly awkward map. Rapha did a lot of stuff really good. We saw a lot of his personality as a player. I think it was a great representation of Rapha in how he approaches the game, but he blunders the game and goes to this overtime. It's a pretty big mistake. I think in 2011 we're going to see a much more polished Rapha, a much more mature Rapha, a Rapha that hits harder, because from 2009 he's gone on and won a lot of stuff. He wins the Intel Extreme Masters Season 4 World Championship and the Season 5 Grand World Championship, both times against Cooler. He kind of bombed out at QuakeCon 2010, but 2010 and 2011 were really, really strong years for him. So I'm keen to see how he matches up against Strenx here. And Rapha becomes the 5th person ever to be in 2 QuakeCon Grand Finals, okay? Before him, we've had Rix, we've had 04, we've had Toxic, and we've had Cypher. And everyone else who's been in 2 Grand Finals has also won 2 Grand Finals. So the pressure's on Rapha here to join QuakeCon royalty. But let's introduce Strenx, the French aim god. Strenx hits like an absolute truck. His LG is, world famous, but his rail is also super consistent. So if Rapha opens himself up, Strenx is just going to hit shot after shot on him, and Rapha isn't going to return them as well, right? Rapha has really good aim, but compared to Strenx, he is going to lose out on these engagements. So Rapha has to pick the right times to push, the right times to expose himself for damage. You don't want to take a flat LG on LG fight against Strenx. That's a recipe for Strenx upsetting you, even if he's behind on stack. To a degree, he will be able to flip situations in his favor if you give him those situations he wants. But what Strenx has to watch out for is, not diving into situations, making sure that his combat is really on point. Strenx can pick some really good fights, but sometimes he just drops into situations with, situations where he isn't welcome, I guess, and maybe gets a little bit overambitious and can get punished for it. When Strenx plays really defensively, he can grind the game to a halt. His timing is really good. So I'm keen to see how they match up on this map, and this is Rapha 2 maps up in a best of 5, so if Rapha wins this, he wins the series, and like I said, becomes the 5th person to win 2 QuakeCon Grand Finals. So we're on Rapha's point of view here. Furious Heights, probably what I would consider Rapha's wheelhouse. As Rapha spawns in one of the awkward spots on the map there, he has to stop and listen before he drops down for that red, but overall, this is a really nice spawn. The players are just on their each half of the map. They just get to do their thing. No funny business here off the start. Always what you like to see in a grand final. But this is definitely a Rapha map, right? He is an absolute master of it. He picks really good fights at the red armor. Nice catch here for Rapha. Again, Strenx just coming out of that rail, a little bit reckless. Rapha comes through, probably doesn't expect... Strenx probably doesn't expect Rapha to be right there, but Rapha's hit a really good rocket, and that's going to push Strenx away. Strenx actually puts himself on the side of the red armor to exit this room. That's really interesting, but on the way out, Rapha hits a really good rocket. And I like how Rapha just kind of sits back, he sees what Strenx is doing, he lets Strenx do it, and just makes sure he hits that 100 damage rocket on the way. Strenx can't stay at this red armor now. And there's a rule on this map, don't die at the first red armor, because you're going to give up the mega as well. You're just going to be so far behind. Strenx hanging around to look for this damage. Oh, that is a spicy rail. Strenx hangs around. I mean, you can see why Strenx wanted to hang around there to get some rocket pressure, to hit some damage to slow down Rapha, because Rapha was going to walk away from this situation with everything anyway. I don't think that was too bad from Strenx, but he does die, and now Rapha is going to be able to capitalize this in a huge way. Mega is coming. Rapha's not going to know exactly when it is. That's kind of interesting, because I think Mega's going to come up, and at this point, it looks like Strenx might actually grab it. Rapha just solidifies his armor stack here, and he doesn't take any damage, so it's okay, but it probably could have been better if he actually picked up that Mega. Strenx manages to sneak it away mid-fight. Rapha's still going to have an advantage. Strenx 200, 0, Rapha 100, 200, there's an extra rocket in this fight. So a direct rocket from Strenx here would be excellent. He drops down, perfect shaft there from Rapha. I was just talking about how great Strenx's LG is. Rapha hits some perfect LG of his own there. Rapha sits back and lets Strenx get the red and just plays for damage, and this is something we're going to see Rapha do again and again. This could be dicey right now. Strenx is weak, but a good rocket from Strenx as Rapha walks in here could go a long way, and Strenx is hiding there around that pillar. Nice movement. Rapha kind of flubs his fight a little bit. Strenx pushes him out of the room with a strong rocket, and Rapha's going to have to back away here. He really wants to stay alive, doesn't stick around to grab that HP bubble, and you can see why. If Rapha stopped to pick up the HP bubble on his way out, he would have been that much slower that Strenx could have actually gotten a pin there potentially. Super tight situation, but both players are weak. Just whoever's going to hit their shot, and in that case it is Rapha, and that's probably the peak Rapha situation, right? Rapha gets away on 3 HP, it somehow survives onto a 50 HP bubble, and then flips it around onto his opponent. We're going to have plasmas out, no rockets for Rapha to defend himself here. So Strenx on that red off of the spawn, he is going to pretty much have equal stack. It's going to be red first and then Mega. Rapha playing the bottom of the map here. He knows there's a yellow up for him first, so he might be coming into this with a small stack advantage, but he's not going to have a lot of time to get on this red. How long is it? 2 seconds away. So if Rapha can hit a rail here, then back away onto Mega, that's great. Strenx probably wants to be sitting directly above him at 50 HP, or right on that red. So Rapha sees him there and he just goes, okay, fine. Grab Mega, get out of here. Rapha actually a little bit potentially off with his timing there, right? Sitting on that Mega platform really early, Strenx has time to come in and get a lot of LG damage down. So well played by Strenx. I think he timed that item really, really precisely and knew what he'd get away with. Rapha hits the damage, but, you know, it was not a comfortable situation there, and he doesn't have a lot of HP to play with. If he comes with his 50 HP, he might see some resistance from Strenx. No spam or anything. Strenx lets him walk onto it, and that's probably just as well. Honestly, like, here I am saying some resistance. Rapha has the OG, he has the rail. Strenx shouldn't have been anywhere near it. Oh man, so 10 seconds until this Mega's going to be coming. Strenx, we might see him up at the LG position. We might see him looking for exit damage again. I don't think he wants to come down low. Yeah, Rapha's got him red. Strenx needs to be careful here. He doesn't get a good pin this time, and now he's got to get out of this room without taking damage, otherwise he's going to be looking to give up potentially another frag. He's trying to delay Rapha here and potentially get onto this red, but taking that last rail shot, that gives Rapha time to sneak out and get into a good position to hit that rail really comfortably, right? Excellent movement by Rapha, stays out of sight, just chips away whatever he can, then backs away onto an item. Absolutely perfect. And we're going to see Red and Mega fairly well synced up, so this is good for Strenx again. He has an opportunity to take a major item. Rapha on the hunt. And I don't know if Strenx does pick it up, okay. Wow, and Rapha backs away through that tunnel, knows that he's going to hit pretty much perfect LG as he does it, and again, Rapha gets down below 5 HP, Strenx so close to getting this frag, but isn't quite able to do it. And I actually want to rewind that, okay? Because I wasn't 100% sure. I mean, given that Strenx dropped down, you would have to assume that he grabbed the Mega, but I wasn't 100% sure on the timing. So Rapha pulls out the LG, and he just hits everything as he backs away. Strenx, in order to keep hitting, has to follow him through. It's fairly predictable. Rapha knows that the stacks are going to be reasonably close. You know, he was, what, 150 before all that? And yeah, if he... Oh, with that HP bubble, if he can get onto, like, the 50 HP bubble without getting pressured too hard by Strenx, I'm pretty sure the 50 HP bubble's coming. Rapha just plays it quiet. Tries to hit a shot, doesn't make it, but he's in a safe position. He can always drop away here. Strenx is here to push, and I think Rapha's too weak to actually sit on this red now, and here's where we can see what Rapha's made of, right? I expect he's going to sit back, let Strenx get on this red, and then just hit a huge shot as he does it. And this is exactly what we see again, right? We saw this earlier in the map. That is such a beautiful rocket. That is a spicy... Well, I don't know if it was a direct, but it was a lot of splash on the exit there. So Rapha stays alive, and he's hit a lot of damage, and he lives to fight another... Oh, that is such amazing prediction. I mean, like, really solid rocket angles to end that engagement there for Rapha. Strenx getting a little bit desperate, maybe even comes out with this LG. Again, wipes that Mega off of Rapha, but Rapha with the yellow armor, you know, it's not just going to be a fresh stack cess fight like Strenx maybe wants it. And Rapha's going to have these guns, so he's able to keep his distance, he's able to play around these pillars. Strenx steals away a red armor again. And this time it's actually going a bit better for him. Rapha, not in a comfortable situation at all, is finally going to go down. And so now is Strenx's time to make something happen. Strenx definitely not healthy. He's got that 50 HP bubble. And he's taken a really good route across to this Mega. I'm not sure about the drop down here. I mean, you can see why he wanted to drop down. Rapha wasn't very healthy, but the problem for me, if you look at this situation, he still has the railgun out here, right? If he'd have had the LG out at this point and was already LGing Rapha, I think he would have gotten this frag. But he just drops down, doesn't do any damage on the drop down. Maybe he should have gotten a little bit more damage before he dropped. I mean, you can see being 6 frags down why you're so hungry to try and chase your opponent down when you know they're not very stacked, but it just gives Rapha such a good opportunity to hit that first rocket. And of course, Rapha's going to take it. Nice rail for Strenx. It's important for Rapha to return that one. It's going to mean this mega fight's going to be a lot closer. Mega Mega about 5 seconds away. Strenx comes out to look for the shot before backing off onto his item. That's pretty much perfect. I don't want to see him get too greedy here, and that's good. So Strenx hits a rail, gets his item for free, means that make sure that Rapha doesn't get the full benefit of that Mega. Really, really nice catch there for Rapha. That's absolutely huge. Despite, losing out just on the raw item game there, he makes a read based on his opponent's position. He stays quiet. He lets Strenx, really just give everything away on his own. Amazing catch from Rapha, and that's going to mean that he is suddenly back in the driving seat. Off the back of a situation where Strenx outplayed him, Rapha just turns around and does something awesome, straight back at him. Rapha knows this yellow's coming, and he's actually gonna be coming into this Mega pretty close. And Strenx steals it away. So, interesting for Rapha. Again, this can be the kind of situation where when Rapha's 6 frags up, he just decides that he doesn't want to gamble a fight in Mega Room. He knows Strenx is there. But this actually looks like it might be a bit of a mistake from Rapha. He might have slightly mistimed Mega, gotten a little bit overconfident with what he could deny, because it looks like he was a little bit thrown towards that red armor as well, a little bit uncertain. Fight's gonna come out. Rapha hits a lot of close range LG. Strenx tries to make exit damage with the rail and just isn't able to do it. And again, here we are talking about Strenx with his hit scan, but it's Rapha in the close range fight who just absolutely shreds him. He's got the right weapon selection. He's got the right ideas. Again, you can really feel Rapha playing at the very limit of that LG range there. Like, he knows how much he can get away with in that position and plays it so beautifully. Strenx tries to hold on for this yellow armor, and, you can really feel at this point which way this series is going. 3.5 minutes, 9 frags. It is almost too much on this map. It isn't impossible. You can get some really cheeky spawns, and Strenx makes a huge commitment on that red. Actually gets Rapha down to nothing and then slips out of the room. So Strenx, he is going to be dominating the top of the map for this Mega. Rapha would really like not to die here. He's going to just peek out where he can. And yeah, he isn't going to be able to get away. Strenx, beautiful punish. Rapha not prepared for the drop down right before that Mega. Red's going to be coming. I love it. Let Strenx drop down, disappear through the telly. Huge chase here for Strenx. Huge opportunity to pick up a red. Rapha doesn't hit his shot, so Strenx, like I said, it isn't impossible. There are some huge spawn frags on this map. Strenx is doing a great job of putting pressure down on Rapha. Rapha, excellent position here. It's really hard for Strenx to drop down on him without taking a lot of damage. Rapha has his OG out in anticipation of Strenx kind of dropping down. You feel that Rapha's always prepared, right? Yeah, he knows what Strenx might be doing. No rail exchanged here on this Mega. That works well for Strenx. Because he's going to get a meaty stack, but he really, really wants to hit a shot onto Rapha here, because Rapha just completely unchallenged, able to stack his way up to this 100-150 threshold. Strenx coming forward with the rail out. Again, takes a lot of damage there, but does get another frag, and these frags are going to be all that matter to Strenx right now. Rapha coming for OG is going to have a lot of tools to defend himself. And again, here comes Strenx. Beautiful bounce there for Rapha. Strenx actually, he went miles there. Rapha just wants to play this slow, waste as much time as he can. Red's going to be up. Rapha, again, doesn't even stand on it, right? If he stood on it, there was probably a spam rocket with his name on it. Instead, he's happy to just play for damage. That time, it doesn't work out so well for him, but the idea is still really solid, and he just stays alive that little bit longer. He just wastes that little bit more time. Strenx comes down into a rail, but you can see, once the frags start to come on this map, they really, really can come fast and furious. And now Rapha's ready to actually make a play onto this red. He knows how much damage has been exchanged here. Beautiful rockets. Such nice rockets there for Rapha up close. And again, his fights in the water here at this red armor are so pivotal. Probably some of the best fights on this map in that area, coming out from Rapha in this era. And there we go. I mean, look, it's going to be no great surprise at this point to say that Rapha comes away with this map. I don't think this was necessarily the best demonstration of what Strenx is capable of. Maybe, a bit of grand final pressure, maybe a bit of, map fatigue, this being the 4th map in a series, in a fairly intense series. I would definitely like to come back and watch some more games from some of these years, like Aerowalk from 2010. I think the Aerowalk from this series would be good to watch, because, when you get to see Strenx on, Aero or Toxicity, that's Strenx living his best life and doing his thing. And Rapha, a couple of celebratory 360s here. He's feeling good about life. He's feeling very, very good. But yeah, I guess I'll just say a few quick housekeeping things as Rapha's going to do his victory lap here. I've swapped back to smooth textures instead of, highly detailed textures. I think it compresses a lot better and looks a lot better on YouTube. I'd be interested if people have some feedback, if people, really want to see, like, Pikmip 0 again. And there we go, Rapha takes down Strenx. The stats are actually working here, which is good. I don't know when these actually started working, but it's interesting to see how much more damage Rapha hit, and especially, this rocket damage, right? This is where it comes out. Rapha hit some really sick rockets in this game. He had some really great anticipation of where Strenx was. Again, I loved watching him fight at that red armor, sit back, Strenx takes the red, but Rapha deals damage. And again, you can see 10 extra red armors on Strenx, but at least 3 or 4 of those, Strenx got his stack absolutely shredded. And again, those yellow armors tell a story as well. If you're picking up 10 extra reds but losing most of that stack, but then Rapha's getting all the yellows, Rapha's going to be ahead, 100%. So that was a really fun game. Like I said, I don't think it was the best representation of Strenx, and unfortunately we're not going to see Strenx again in this series, so a bit of a loss there in my opinion. I do think Strenx is a really interesting player to talk about, but Rapha is too strong. Rapha becomes the 5th player to win 2 QuakeCons, and with such a strong rivalry between him and Cypher here, it's really going to be down to which of them can be the first to win 3 QuakeCons and tie up 0-4, or maybe even win 4 and surpass him. So I'll see you next year for 2012, another really fantastic grand final, and one that I think tends to get overlooked. People talk about 2010, people talk about 2016, people talk about 2013 as being a huge final. 2012 has some really great games as well, so I'm looking forward to that. We're celebrating 25 years of Quake on the channel this month, doing a bit more than usual. Gonna be smashing out some more videos this month and next month as well, so be sure to tune in. Any feedback is always welcome. If you have games you want to hear me talk about, let me know. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.